today's topic is about the so-called healers.
Hmm.
Now, incompetent coaches, therapists, practitioners, gurus, and shamans, honey. You know, them self appointed ones that really haven't had any life initiations, let alone any training. We want to talk about them today. Now, we want you to know that being a licensed therapist doesn't necessarily mean that the person you have chosen because of the licensing can assist you.
Come on now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. We got a lot of that in this climate. And let me tell you why I believe this topic came up for us. Spirituality has become, or healing has become a great fad.
Hmm.
Okay. It's a fad. It's a fad. It's a fad when it should be something that is required for evolution in your own personal growth, for you to realize that's what it is. But when spirituality took this big boom, you had all kind of people that were self-appointed and have convinced themselves as to why it is that what they are self-appointed in is a means to say that they're qualified to assist you. Okay. Even those of them that have been certified and licensed are not necessarily qualified to assist you in the areas in which you need assistance. To me, it's a fun topic, but it's a serious topic because I get to talk a little ish. Okay, but what we're saying is not light at all, to be honest. There are a lot of people who are misled, a lot of people who go in thinking because they've learned, those other people have learned how to articulate in such a way that seems, they sound wonderful with what they're saying. But in reality, the people come out a little bit more messed up than what they went in. Be aware. And today, I believe we'll probably drop a little tips as how you can tell, um, uh, a- and what you can do to kind of ensure you are headed in the direction that will lead to your healing and growth should you desire to utilize someone else. Okay. Ujo, what you think about this here subject matter, sis?
I love this topic because I'm actually on the path to licensure, to becoming
Mhm.
a licensed therapist. Um, and prior to this phase of my journey, I have taken several trainings, certifications, and all types of things, you know, for coaching and mentorship and doing all these different things, right? Um, and so, not just being a facilitator of supporting other people in their journeys, but being on the receiving end, right? In my own personal experiences and experiences that I've heard from other people, how um, just because they have certain credentials doesn't mean they're the right fit for you. And so being able to first have clarity on what you need, and that could be the hardest part, like not being
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
So that's one aspect of it. Another part is sometimes you won't know, and then you begin this relationship and this journey with a practitioner or a therapist or a counselor, healer, coach, and then you realize something's off or this there isn't an alignment in the way that you thought, um, and that's another opportune time to move on, right? To either address the issues or concerns that may or may not be coming up, or you might have a better way to articulate what you need. And if they can't assist you with that, then it's okay to part ways. I think that part is really important. But to also be mindful that if you are in a program or going through a process with someone, are you doing the work? How accountable are you in that process? Are you doing the things that are being asked of you, that are the things that are required for you to actually see the results of that work? Because sometimes you will have people that just have this expectation that they just want you to do all the work for them. And we Mayette and I have talked about in previous episodes, we don't do that.
Not even a little bit. Okay.
We do not do that. Um, and so it's really important for you to recognize, like, are you willing to carry your like your role and your responsibilities in that relationship too, because that's important. So it's not just about you have practitioners, healers, therapists, counselors that might not be competent or might not be in alignment with your exact needs. But sometimes you do have that, but you're actually not meeting them where meeting them in the right place. So that's just another aspect to consider.
Absolutely. Now listen, I used to be on them streets on Facebook Lane, and baby, let me tell you, there are a lot of people out all over the place now, but that's where I started. There are a lot of people out who can mimic you, or can be they are a great mimic. They are able to watch what they see others do. Those are the ones who are consistently in the lives, hopping from one live to the next, cheering everybody on while they over there taking notes. Something that they can do for their client that they gonna have in a couple of hours. They listen
Hmm.
to the lessons, and not they listen to the things that those of them who have been through the work, who have done the work, who have done the processes of healing in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and they're looking for a scapegoat. um, One of the things that you can do to be able to tell as you are venturing into your healing, if you have someone who is a mimicker, someone who if that's not a word, baby, I just made it up. Okay. um
No, making up words.
Okay, I just made it up. But if you find someone that is for you to be able to know if someone is a mimicker, if someone is mimicking someone else's style, or they're mimicking someone else's words, is they can't backdoor it with an experience of theirs. Let me tell you how you can tell if you have somebody who has worked through some things. As they're listening to you, and allowing you to share whatever it is in that moment, and they are able to give you actual examples of their situations, or from working with previous clients, or as I call them, my babies, working with previous clients, that they can be able to understand and relate to what you're saying by giving examples that will be applicable to your current situation. Something they should be able to say that will help you, um, uh, to help the light switch wiggle, and it's going to come on eventually. It's going to be like a static at first, but then it'll come on, because their example is able to assist you in what you're saying. People that are mimicking you or mimicking others can't, unfortunately, give you examples, real life examples, because they never lived them. Everybody is different. You have healers out there. Those are the shamans, the self-proclaimed gurus. And you don't have to, let me just say this, you don't have to have certification to be initiated. Your life is an initiation. But
Hmm.
when you use your life as an initiation, then people should be able to see and experience your growth through your life's experiences. People should be able to understand and see a different mannerism where you've grown. They should be able to see where it is that you still need areas of growth, be able to be comfortable. They should be able to be an open book. And those of them who are not qualified to assist you, whether they are licensed, whether they are, self-proclaimed shamans, right? Whether they've
Hmm.
received certifications, um, they can't help you without showing you. They only know, put it like this, they only know what it is that they've learned via textbook. That
Hmm.
their life, they haven't learned enough lessons from their own personal life's initiations to be able to assist. They are unable to. And you listen, if you have a healer, guru, shaman, licensed practitioner, there's a
Coach.
specific coach, thank you. There's a specific etiquette. There's a specific etiquette that is unspoken, but is definitely followed. And that is, they're not talking to you in specifics about someone else's situation. Let me say that again. When these people you go to for assistance, is talking about somebody else to you, about their personal growth and situation, you better run. It's an etiquette. It's an etiquette. I know lots of people who are not or shouldn't be doing some of the things that they're doing, but the etiquette, the unspoken code says that I am not to stand in their way because that is a lesson, whether they're going to catch it or not. And if you were drawn to them, you are a part of their lesson, and that is a part of your lesson. So when you find those of them in these spiritual streets that got their mouth wide open and always talking about somebody else or always wanting to counteract some kind of beef, you might want to think about investing your time and opening your energy up to them, is all I'm saying. To
Mhm.
piggyback on something you said about, which way did you say it? About the responsibility that those of them who are seeking assistance should have.
Mhm.
Listen, you come in thinking that somebody's going to do the work for you. And if you got a real one, you're going to be told real quick,
Mhm.
baby, I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm not here to coddle you. I'm not here to do anything. You want to be healed. A true healer, whether they're certified or licensed or not, is going to always put the work back on you because you're here for the work. That's another way to tell distinguish the difference between the two. They're not going to always give you the answers. Most of the times, they're never going to give you an answer. They're going to always ask the question on what you're saying. They're going to always reiterate what it is that you're going through so that you can see where you are in the situation. That's where you can tell you got a good one. They're not going to coddle you. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. And most of the times, the good one's going to piss your ass off because they're
Mhm.
not. I'm talking about make you
Yep.
mad because they're going to say some things, honey, that are going to cause you to really look inside of you and see why it was a trigger in the first place. A true healer, as I say, I am nothing but your guide. Even though I have certifications, yeah, woo, 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 I'm nothing but your guide that will shine a light on the dark areas that you are unwilling to see. The work is up to you. I will give you the things that are required for you to assist you in doing that work, the basic fundamentals and principles, give you some foundational tools, but it's up to you to put that into action. Now, if you got a healer, guru, shaman, counselor, coach that's doing the work for you, maybe they're just taking your money. They're just taking your money. So beware of that.
And your time too, because some mentorship and guidance is not always a monetary exchange, um, and and even if money is involved, there's also the aspect of time and commitment to the journey. Um, and I feel like it is important to recognize, uh, you know, there's levels of experience and stages of growth. And um, when I think about my own journey and how much I evolved over the years, right? Um, and that happens on both ends for the person receiving that support and the one facilitating it. Um, Being able to be coachable, um, and to be receptive to the advice, the guidance, um, that part is important. And also on the facilitating aspect, being able to listen to and break down like the needs of that client. Are you actually listening to what they need, or are you just trying to put your own stuff on it without actually really listening to like what are they saying, what do they think they're saying, and what are they actually saying? So being able to read in between the lines, because I mentioned previously that sometimes people don't know what they are seeking. They don't know how to articulate it. And I have learned that part of my work is to help them unpack that. Sometimes that's like the first step, right? If they're unsure, because that's going to be one of the first indicators on whether this is like, is this an appropriate alignment between the person that receiving the support and the person that is facilitating that support in whatever type of dynamic it is. So we talked about coach, therapist, um, clinician, um, tarot reader, energy healer, like whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. We're using this as a general form because healing comes in many modalities, right? So we're not compartmentalizing healing, but we are using these terms because these are terms that tend to be, you know, I would use like umbrella terms to just kind of carry this conversation, but it's not limited to the the things that we mentioned, right? It's much more expansive than that. And also, I appreciate what Maya mentioned about just this aspect of like the behavior, um, and the behavior of the person that you might be considering to work with. Is there an alignment with personality? You know, sometimes y'all just don't vibe personality wise or with their approach. Sometimes it does seem, you know, there's a lot more focus on external factors or putting on a front, right? Let me tell you, Maya, and let me know if you've experienced this.
Okay.
So I would get these. So, you know, when I was actively doing tarot readings and coaching and stuff like that, now I limit those things seasonally. Um, but I would get these emails because, you know, I like to do my readings and coaching and stuff. I like to be virtual and I like to see
Right.
you. I want you to
Right.
see me. I want to see you because I'm, you know. So I would get these emails on occasion of someone seeing if I do email readings.
Mm.
And I don't do email readings, right? But what I've learned is you will have people that are seeking that, right? In the same way you might be on a live stream and somebody's asking you a question, but they're asking you a question so they can use that
Yes,
to
Lord.
use that to with their clients or whatever, which I've experienced that too. And I know it. And I'll go through the motions with you too. Like, and then it's just like, really? I'll get the same thing with readings because they want it written so they can take that and copy that
And utilize
for their
that.
client. Yeah. And that's
Absolutely.
happened to me even on live streams.
Yep.
Someone's asking a question and I know that question is not for them.
Mhm.
I know it's like it's some bullshit.
Mhm. Listen, I done called some few folk out when I used to do intuitive readings live. I've called a few people out, honey. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and listen, and if you can go to somebody, let me say this because it just popped in my head. If you can go to somebody and ask them to do a reading on behalf of your mate, spouse, friend, cousin, sister, brother, mama, and they do it, that's unethical
Mm-hmm.
because you need first permission when you're going to delve into someone's spiritual energy. I'll just leave it like that. When you're going to dive into somebody's spiritual energy, you need permission from that person. And so if you can go to somebody and ask them to look into somebody else's life, that is unethical. And if they're willing to do something to that magnitude unethically, imagine the type of thing you're opening up that other person to. Okay. You are
Mm-hmm.
opening that other person up to the deceit that they have within them, to the lower vibrational aspects of them. Again, to distinguish the difference between someone who is genuinely there to assist you or for someone there to take your money is push something unethical on them. And if they bite, they ain't got to be trained in it. They ain't gotta know it. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. And when you're operating from a higher vibrational space, that feeling that, oh, that don't feel right. No, sis, I can't help you with that. No, bruh. That's just I can't help you with that. That's not something I can do. Then that's the person that you want to work with when they decline your unethical suggestion. But hey, if you asking, you a little bit unethical your damn self.
But sometimes with that, this is why education and setting the tone is really important, because sometimes that's due to lack of experience. So it's like, especially if I feel like on the spiritual side, on the life
Mm,
coaching wellness side, where things aren't as like regulated by certain laws in the state and stuff like that. If you don't have if you weren't taught about that, and you're just, your kind of mentor is just people that you find on YouTube or whatever, and you haven't had any like um, traditional or like formal type of training. By formal, it doesn't have to be from
mhm.
like a traditional institution, right? But you have a mentor
Right.
or someone that's guiding you through experience, or something like that. um, then sometimes it's just lack of experience, and then you don't know. But then there comes a point where it just doesn't feel right. It's just like, okay, I don't know, like, should I be doing that? And if you as a practitioner are wondering if you should be doing that, you probably shouldn't. And that would be a good point to reach out to, like, do you have peers? If you as a practitioner, as a healer, insert term here, right?
Mhm.
If you don't have um, peers and other people that are in that same field of industry that you can trust, that you can connect with, and that you can get some insight from during times where you're unsure. If you don't have a mentor or someone that you can check in with for things that you might not be sure about, then that needs to change, right? um, because that could be your saving grace in a lot of situations.
Okay.
um, and I feel like sometimes there's this unnecessary aspect of like competition, right? You could be doing the
Right.
same. We can literally have the same services, and they're completely different. How we,
Mhm.
you see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so it shouldn't be like this form of like, oh, competition. It's like, no, this is a network. So if you have good people around you, being able to um, kind of like check in and have that peer support, or
Mhm.
that mentorship is, I feel like would be really important, especially for those that practitioners and healers that don't have a lot of experience, or don't have like a strong community when it comes to facilitating their work. And then on
Okay.
the other end,
Mhm.
um, you know, as a practitioner, this is something that people should know already before even signing up for your stuff. There should be something somewhere of what you will and won't do. Or this is something that you're
Mm.
addressing in that initial meeting or consultation.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you will have clients that will test you. And I have had clients that have tested me. And part of that is
Mhm.
because they don't know, or it's because of what they see on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And they're
Mhm.
they're seeing um, some of like these readings, or even like therapists on TikTok that are like sharing certain information or whatever. And so their expectations
Mhm.
are not in alignment, right? They have, because of things that they've seen, and so they think
Mhm.
that it's appropriate based on that. You know what I mean? And so you have
Right.
to, yeah. So part of it is, um, as the one facilitating the work, like, you do have to set that tone real quick, and
Right.
educate them on what is appropriate, at least when it comes to what's appropriate for you and what you're willing to do. So I feel like that,
Okay.
um, I've noticed that for sure, because I'll see certain things. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, okay, this is what they
Okay.
throw out there, but
Right.
that's what it's learned behavior, and they think that that's how it should
Mhm.
go.
Right,
In the
because you have
same
so many
way,
of those. I'm sorry, because you have so many of those fraudulent people out there. But go ahead.
it no, exactly. So in the same way, I'll like, something will pop up, and there'll be a reading or something, and I'll see somebody and like, so you'll have people that do readings or something live, and they want you to put, like, they want certain information. They want your birthday, they want this and want that. You, even on some of these hotlines that you'll call or whatever, I don't need anything like that. I don't need any.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't really need any information, right? But
Mhm.
every person is different, and so how they do the work. So it's not saying that it's
Mhm.
wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm not typically, like, my style and my approach. I don't necessarily like. That's not something I'm requesting. Um,
Okay.
does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot
Um,
of sense.
mhm,
Thinking about what you were saying, uh, rewinding a little bit about people being new and not knowing. I can see where you're coming from with that. I also see where it is a feeling that you get when something's not right. You know what I'm saying? It's like a
mhm,
feeling you get when something is not right. So, um, when I was new, right? When I was new and I was doing oracle readings, and because I've never been one to delve into tarot, but it was all oracle. And then shortly thereafter, it just became straight intuitive with no cards or anything. And I love my oracle. I miss them. I ain't did them in a long time now that I'm thinking about it, child. But anyway, um, it was certain things that just didn't feel right, even when I was new. Um, and I do see how some could not be as in tune to their intuition in the beginning of their practices. Yeah, or
yeah.
yeah, and they're doing some things unethical. Um, okay, listen, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna land. One thing I want y'all to think about is how would you want to receive your assistance? How would you want to receive that assistance? Um, what manner do you expect the assistance to come to you or you to it? The type that you will receive. And pay attention before you dive in. Pay attention before you put a deposit down. Pay attention before you schedule an appointment and make a payment. If they meet or if they meet certain check boxes that you have, so to speak. And take some time to look at the people for a few minutes. Gather some information. Do your research. If they have a website, go on their website. If they don't have a website, go up and down their page. Do your investigative research, because when you open yourself up to any form of assistance, you're opening up more than just your mouth. You're opening up your energetic field. You're opening up the ability to allow impersonal forces to come in and ride you. Um, and you're also opening yourself up to those of them who may not necessarily be healed, and all of their junk and what they would have attached themselves to you is looking for a new host. So be very careful about these so-called shaman, gurus, coaches, therapists, and healers. I ask you, even when you come and look out for me, go and look at some of my work. I'm always quick to ask, what brought you to me? Because I want to know if it was a fly by something. Have you done your due diligence? Have you researched me? If you haven't, you might be in a rude awakening because you're looking for something that I'm not. So for those of you who are about to seek healing or is in healing right now, doing healing with another party, do your due diligence. Check to see, is there are there if you're about to go into something, check to see the things that they speak about, that they teach on, that they do publicly, what their posts are about. And then if you are in it, can you measure your growth from the time you were in it to right now? Have you grown any? Or are you just constantly being a cash cow for them to receive? Something to think about. This has been the so-called healers, honey, and talking a little bit about that and a little bit more. I hope this has been something that you can find beneficial for you in your right now moments or in your future moments. I appreciate you. My name is Mayette Ajay Ib. This is my co-host, Ujo Wajette. Any last words, sweet baby?
Let us know what you feel about this topic. If you have any questions or any experiences that you want to share, you can definitely let us know in the comments of our YouTube channel, or you can also send us a DM on Spirit Wisdom Reset on Instagram or on Facebook.
I am Mayette Ajay Ib from the Spirit Wisdom Reset podcast, honey. If you haven't, if you haven't Go on and get hooked up on the VIP. We got some things coming out that's only going to be delivered to those on the VIP list. Some background wine drinking, weed smoking, communication from me and my sister that we just got our hair let all the way down. And so if you want to be a part of some of the things we do behind the scenes, by all means, get on the VIP list. If you do not follow us, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Spirit Wisdom Reset, honey. Okay. And we're also available on all of your streaming platforms for podcasts. Bam, 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 bam.
Hey.
Spirit Wisdom Reset podcast.
Podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.